Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge question, one that governments and big companies all over the world are trying to figure out. It seems pretty straightforward, but it's an enormous challenge. You see, a nation's farmers aren't just one big group. They're an incredibly diverse mix of people with totally different needs, different farm sizes, and different goals. So, how do you create policies or business plans that actually help, without just falling into that old one-size-fits-all trap? So, to get our heads around this, our story kicks off by looking at the agricultural scene in South Korea. It's a country that really shows you just how complex this puzzle can be, because its farmers are up against some pretty serious, deep-rooted challenges. I mean, think about it. The number of people farming is actually shrinking. The way farmers make their money is changing dramatically, and less land is being actively farmed. On top of all that, a farmer out in a rural province has a completely different life than one who's set up near a big city. So you can see right away why a single, generic solution would be a total failure from the get-go. To crack this puzzle, researchers decided to use the one tool that's powerful enough to slice through all that complexity: data. The goal was to find a whole new way to see the hidden patterns, the secret structure humming away inside the entire farming community. And the approach they took, well, you can honestly think of it like a data-powered sorting hat for farmers. It's a great analogy. Instead of just guessing who should get what kind of support, they used a powerful statistical method to sort everyone into their proper groups based on what they were actually doing. It's about letting the data itself draw the map of the farming world. Now, the technical name for this sorting hat is latent profile analysis, or LPA. Look, we don't need to get lost in the weeds of the math. All you really need to know is that LPA is designed to sift through a huge, messy pile of information and find the real groups, the latent profiles that are hiding in plain sight. It's just a way of figuring out who is genuinely similar to whom. The process itself was really methodical and logical. First, they gathered a ton of public data, 9 years worth, on everything from what crops people grew to farm size and where they were located. Then, of course, they had to clean all that data up to make it usable. After that, they unleashed the LPA algorithm to hunt for those hidden patterns. And the final crucial step was to confirm just how many distinct groups of farmers the data was telling them actually existed. And what they discovered? Well, this is the real heart of our explainer today. The data didn't show them chaos. It revealed a clear, organized, and understandable structure. Get this. After analyzing all of that information, the algorithm landed on one single optimal number. It turns out that South Korea's entire complex farming population can be understood as 8 distinct identifiable profiles. Not 5, not 20, 8. And just having that number, well, it changes the problem from impossibly complicated to suddenly manageable. And here they are, the 8 secret profiles. And they really run the gamut, from these small-scale mixed farms, which are the smallest and tend to grow high-value things like medicinal plants, all the way up to the large-scale intensive operators who are working on an almost industrial level. And in between, you've got these super specialized groups like the fruit-focused farms in certain regions or the seasoning veg-focused types you see around big cities. Each one has its own unique signature. But what's immediately obvious here is just how much the country is dominated by smaller farms. I mean, an incredible 80% of all farmers fall into just 3 of those profiles. It's this powerful reminder that while we hear a ton about massive industrial agriculture, the real backbone of the system is this huge network of small and medium-sized family farms. And to make this really concrete, just look at the difference between 2 of these profiles. The large-scale intensive farmer manages, on average, a massive 577 hectares. They need help with global logistics, distribution, export markets. Now compare that to the small-scale mixed farmer. They're averaging just 2.3 hectares. They don't need help with exports. They need support with branding and accessing niche local markets. There is no way you can help both of them with the same program. It just wouldn't work. But the discovery didn't even stop there. Okay, so knowing who these farmers are is one thing. But the next question is, where are they? Are these profiles just scattered randomly across the country? Or is there some kind of geographic logic to all this? The answer was absolutely crystal clear. These farmer types are not random at all. In fact, they're highly concentrated in specific regions, creating this really predictable map of farming styles all across the nation. The pattern is just incredibly clear. You go out to the rural provinces like Gangwon, and it's dominated by the leafy green-focused farmer. But then, as you get closer to big metro areas like Seoul, the seasoning vegetable-focused profile completely takes over, catering directly to that huge urban demand for things like garlic and peppers. And this, right here, might be the most critical finding of all. These geographic patterns are unbelievably stable. The researchers looked at 9 full years of data, from 2015 all the way to 2023, and found that the dominant profile in each region barely changed at all. So these aren't fads or temporary market trends. This is the deep, predictable bedrock of the entire agricultural economy. So when you combine the who with the where and the how stable, you don't really have a puzzle anymore. What you have is a blueprint, a detailed map for how to shape the future of agriculture. And this is really where it all comes together, where the analysis turns into action. So what can you actually build with a blueprint like this? A lot, as it turns out. You can get incredibly specific. You could build a smart system that suggests profitable new crops for a leafy green farmer in their specific region. You could design custom education programs, high-tech workshops for the large farms, and branding seminars for the small ones. Knowing which regions specialize in what means you can build powerful local brands, like for the fruit grown in Jeollanam-do. You can even develop targeted climate strategies, focusing only on the profiles and regions that need help the most. Ultimately, this whole thing represents a complete shift in thinking. It's about leaving behind those old, blunt, one-size-fits-all policies and finally embracing smart, targeted support that, actually works. And that leaves us with a final, fascinating question to think about. This approach, using data to find the hidden profiles in a complex population, isn't just about farming. It's a really powerful method. So, if we can map the secret structure of a nation's agriculture, what other massive, complex problems are just out there, waiting for us to draw their blueprint? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.